Dawn light. Welcome to Forfelliness Belysning illumination from the ancestors, guiding your path today.
Every day, someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiancé, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great-grandmother, elder, disappears, shattering a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them.
Good morning and happy Freya's Day to you. Today we embrace Freya and her magic, her understanding of passing magic, kind of all back and forth. So, a wonderful reference for today as we talk about the wolf dream. Now, in the legend and lore, as I've been taught, the wolf dream had a very important part of our evolution and certainly our growth spiritually in this realm. Before we get started today, I want to say a huge thank you. Thank you so much for all of you who have liked, followed, and subscribed on any one of the many different platforms that we're available on each and every morning. Soon, we are probably days away from also being live on the radio, which will be on kwwp.org. You can check them out as well. I do also want to give a huge shout out to my friends and family at New Reality, newrealitytv.com. Is a collection unlike any other of spiritual perspectives that can give us a different perspective and hopefully resonate deep within us to help us to find our way back, to reconnect to the lands, to the spirits, to each other, and hopefully begin our true evolution as the human race. So I encourage you to check them out, newrealitytv.com. Today's show is brought to you by ravin-crossbows, and every legend has a keystone, that one piece that makes the whole thing sing. Ravin-crossbows is that keystone. Tight, fast, and unwavering. Crafted for accuracy when every single shot matters, and it will decide the story. So check them out, as well as all of our other affiliates, at our webpage, akumedia.akulfhednar.com/sponsors. So check them out. You will not be disappointed. Right now, I believe they are still having a special on reconditioned bows and making them available at cost savings to you. So check them out by all means. I also want to give a huge shout out, send some more healing energy to my friend Karen. May she heal, may it grow, and may that darkness that that influenced her life, may it be cast aside, and may she move forward with happy heart and with healthy body. So I pray to you, Karen, may you heal and may you grow and evolve past this. All right? So today we're talking about the wolf dream. Well, what is the wolf dream? Well, according to the legends as I've been instructed, the wolf dream was essentially understanding how a wolf thinks, how it processes the world around it. And when we talk about the wolf dream, we're talking about things like taking a moment as we're experiencing life as it's coming at us. We're just taking that one moment and just adjusting and just holding off on just moving back or just firing off emotionally, we have to remember when we think about things that are happening in front of us and we're experiencing them one way or another, those experiences are going to come into us, and we have kind of two potentials of travel, right? The first potential of travel is that of an emotional response. We allow the influence of the experience to create within us, using imagination. We're going to use that, and we're just going to fire off half-cocked, because we're running purely on emotion, right? There's no thinking involved, there's nothing. It's just a visceral, raw, primal, emotional response. And many times we find that we have some form of regret afterwards. We fire off with this fiery emotion, and what we find is that energy was kind of half cooked. Okay, so this is where this emotion, this visceral emotional response, in many cases is probably the wrong tact. So this kind of brings up this idea of the wolf dream, where the wolf identifies things in that it's experiencing, and it evaluates it. It takes a moment. Imagine, if you will, an image of a wolf laying down with its chin on its paws, and it's watching everything. It's observing everything. Why? Because it's contemplating what it's going to do. There's a level of that next part of our two paths, and that's our cognitive response. Now, we're going to use two phrases here, and we're going to do that very purposefully. The first path is that of reaction, reactive. We're just firing off with that visceral, emotional, primal response or reaction to a particular event going on. Versus a more cognitive approach, and this is the response. So we're going to respond, but we're going to respond typically more appropriately. So the key here is understanding this divergence, if you will, of our path. It is good to understand that we have these two paths. And this morning I'm still nursing my throat chakra, so I apologize, but gotta clear it up. All right. So thinking about the wolf, we're thinking about cognitive thinking, and we're thinking about that momentary. We've talked about before, when we talk about the thought process, we're going to convert experiences into bioelectricity within the body. It's going to transmit over the optic nerve. As an example, I'm using vision as an example, but it is certainly not the only example. Auditory does the same thing, smell, taste, touch, they all do the same thing. But in this case, it's easier to understand how, when we use vision as our example sensory input. So vision comes in, it's converted through the eye to bioelectricity. Bioelectricity transmits over the optic nerve through all kinds of nervous systems. And my ancestors have taught me that one of the first things that this new electric signal is going to go through is the mood ring. And the mood ring, of course, is our preset, predetermined, if you will, mental mindset. So whatever mood we're in, is that mood ring is going to be set to. So it's going to apply that energy to this recently converted energy. Now, I also want to say as this energy of the experience is converted into this bioelectricity, we're going to supplement it with the energy of imagination, right? Because imagination is always at the forefront of our process. Why? Because it is kind of the indicator for fight or flight. Okay? So it's going to have its tassel dangling out there for the energy that's coming in being converted to this bioelectricity. It's converted, already mixed with our imagination energy. Okay? So sometimes what we see is not what really occurred. It's just the way we perceived it, right? So our imagination's going to feed into this signal being created by, in this case, our eyeballs, and that energy, that combined energy, is then going to be passed across the optic nerve to the mood ring. The mood ring, again, is that preset mental condition that we've set our minds to at this point. And it too is going to have some form of manipulation of this energy that's now coming through it, right? So if we're in a grumpier mood, if things aren't going our way, or we perceive them as not going our way, our brain may kind of set a little bit of that energy into this experience, into this converted experience. So we're kind of manipulating the experience right away. Now, from there, this experience is going to drop down into what my ancestors referred to as the well of the self. The well of the self contained many different things, but primarily it was constructed, it looks very akin to a water well, an old water well. And it's constructed based on our DNA, is how much emotional energy can we take, right? So some people have very narrow wells, some people have much larger wells. It's all in the DNA. Now within the well is the water, and the water is representative of that which our thought process is doing. So if our thought process is really chewing through things, we're just many times we may be overwhelmed with things going on in our lives. We're just, whoa, right? That means that water is very tumultuous. It's very choppy. It's swirling and bubbling and doing all that. It makes the signal that we're dropping from the mood ring, it makes that signal, it opens it up to the potential of manipulation and or getting lost and not putting any emotion into it, not putting ourselves into that decision. Now, if we get through the water, i.e., our brain is a little bit more calm and the water is a little bit more still, and we can get this electric signal through the water to what lies at the bottom of the well, is a collection of rocks. Now, this collection of rocks, I absolutely adore the analogy. The rocks represent our virtues, values, and belief systems. Okay? So whatever we believe, whatever we hold at our most center core of value in our decision, in our life's decisions, are all going to be different rocks at the bottom of this well. Now, many rocks are given to us, as we've mentioned in other places. Many of these rocks are given to us by those with whom we've extended some level of authority prior. All right, so if we've given, many times our first authority figures will be that of our parents, our immediate parents, and maybe our older siblings, right away, right? So as our brain is kind of developing at a very young age, we're going to see those virtues, those values, and certainly those belief systems kind of play into part. Now, this is also why you have a difference between older and younger children. The older children don't really, I mean, the only virtues, values, and belief systems they're going to get is from their authority figures, mom and dad, right? Or mom or dad, who's ever there, right? Or uncles, aunts, anyone with whom the physical form recognizes as some level of authority within their lives. Younger siblings have the older sibling to look at, right? So their brain kind of recognizes what the older sibling is saying and doing, because it kind of thinks in the back of its head, oh, well, they've already lived through this, so they have some level of authority, which isn't always the case, but nonetheless, that's what our brains do. And so we build this rock pile. Now, as the signal comes down from the mood ring down into the well of the self, it's going to bounce around through these virtues, values, and belief systems, and it's going to be affected. It'll be pulled one way, it'll be pulled another, it'll be strengthened, it'll be weakened. Whatever the case, it's going to be manipulated as it gets through these virtues, values, and belief systems to the bottom. At the bottom, underneath these rocks, is where this energy is now converted into biochemistry, the body. Now, the body is going to transmit this chemistry up into another section of the processing, but it's very important to understand that your body is going to perform some level of manipulation. Okay, why? Because your diet, your environment, your people that you're with, all of these influences are going to have influences on your physical form, which then alters this chemistry that we created at the bottom of the well of the self. This is why many times when we have some kind of mind-altering substance, we've had too much mead, we've had some form of herb that has altered our mental state, we're actually creating a different interpretation of this energy. This is why we see things differently, hear things differently. This is why there's just a lot more different connectivity when we're under the influence of some substance. Okay? Why? Because it's altering our physical form, thereby altering the biochemistry that we've created from our experience. Does that make sense? So now this biochemistry altered, and it'll arrive at the what my ancestors referred to as the horn of feeling, or the conversion process back from biochemistry back into bioelectricity. This single function right here, from the time we get to the bottom of the well of the self to the time we leave the horn of feeling, is uniquely human. It's uniquely the reason for our physical existence. When we convert energy to chemistry and chemistry back to energy, that can't be done in the spiritual realm. That can't be done without a physical form. And almost uniquely human. It is this biochemistry that makes our emotional understanding of the experience different than anywhere else in existence. So this is why we want to take a minute to consider the wolf dream, that trance, that momentary stall in our processing that allows us to better utilize that which works these processes of thought. All right? All right. Today, where is it? All right. Today we need to take a look at what the gods have in mind for us, and figure out kind of what their guidance for today is. Today being Freya's Day. All right, and what do we have here? Wunjo. Wunjo, of course, is really one of my favorite runes because it's the rune of optimism. And today you'll note that the rune Wunjo is in an upright position, therefore not providing for us any caution, anything to really worry about. But one of the things that we really can draw from Wunjo, from calling the gods now in what's called divination, is we can really pull the understanding of a divine vision. Right? So we're really beginning to hopefully understand that our struggles, our challenges, our lives are necessary to understand all of the different emotions and energies that there are on this physical realm. So it's super critical that we pass through these experiences and take away lessons that then change us. And more importantly, as the wolf dream suggests, we decide what lessons we're going to take away. Unlike that of just absorbing what's in the, accepting kind of the lessons of the fate, and whatever happens, happens. Yeah, no. We get to be in charge. We get to drive. We get to learn from and change from our experiences. So Wunjo is certainly, as I mentioned, the rune of optimism, but it certainly symbolizes here in divination prosperity, accomplishment, fellowship, and harmony, and or joy. So we're definitely bringing a better understanding in how we think and how to use that to our advantage. So let's ponder that today as we go about our busy day of life, living lives. Let us think about how we're bringing things in, how we're learning, how we're altering the way we look at the world. All right. My friends, I have to take a very quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how we can use the wolf dream to kind of move forward in our own lives and kind of begin to understand our true path. We'll be right back after this short break.
In the air.
The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me.
It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
And welcome back. Thank you for taking that quick break with me. As always, I give huge shout outs to my friends and family at New Reality TV. Trust me, this is something that you'll want to check out. So NewRealityTV.com. In addition, I want to remind us, today's show is brought to you by Ravin-Crossbows. Some wonderful products. Check them out, as well as all of our other affiliates at akumedia.akulfhednar.com/sponsors. So be sure to check them out. You won't be disappointed. Today we're talking about the wolf dream and how can we bring that into our everyday life to make things easier for us to deal with today. All right? Well, let's think about it. Before the break, we identified that one of the biggest advantages that the wolf has is this idea that it takes a moment to observe. It learns. So too should we. Take a moment and kind of reflect upon your experiences of the day and identify, where are those lessons? What should we have learned, and did we? And more importantly, what from those lessons did we change the way we're processing things? Remember, as we said in the beginning part of the show, once we learn something, once we have something in memories, memories are going to feed this process called imagination. And imagination is going to come up, and it's going to put itself right at the forefront of input. So we bring in some sensory input, whether it be sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, whatever. And part of that sensory input that we have is really imagination. It's really imagination kind of supplementing the energy that we're creating, converting experiences to memories, right? So part of that composition of that bioelectricity is going to be our imagination. And the imagination is going to feed into that experience before the mood ring ever gets an opportunity to view it, right? So before we actually kind of figure out how we feel about things, our imagination has already altered this experience, this sensory input. And it's altered it in such a way that we're imagining different pieces. So we're essentially we're changing the conversion of the experience into our sensory input. Okay. So recognizing that we play a role in that, and that we control the growth and use and certainly the integration of this thing called imagination. We control that. So we're controlling our vision, what we're seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. We control all that. At its very core, we're in charge of controlling that. So take control, take charge, figure out, from your experiences, what lessons, and from what lessons, what memory are we building, thereby creating this thing called imagination. All right. And so our big exercise for today is reflect. Take a moment in each experience to just reflect and look at it, maybe from a different perspective, maybe from just recognizing our emotional influences, our imagination, and how that's altering what we're seeing. All right, because there's a part to play. All right, so today, Freya's Day, I wish you the very best weekend. I look forward to seeing you again on Mani's Day. But this weekend, I want you to kind of think about, reflecting, taking a moment. And remember, as we spoke about this week, make sure we put ourselves in our third eye for a little bit, so that we are able to kind of bring that energy back to us, that we may heal and grow. All right. So use the weekend to kind of heal and rejuvenate, recharge the old batteries, and get ready for a new week. All right. All right, my friends, love and light. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you again on Mani's Day. Love and light, my friends.